Hey everybody, I've got a nice little treat for you tonight. Um, over the last few weeks I've been looking at something called Mozilla Hubs. It is part of the kind of research I've been doing into virtual worlds you can use for events. But this is something that's really got a lot of potential. So as you can see, it's running in the web browser. It's made by the people who make, of course, the Firefox browser. And what it gives you is this ability to, on the fly, create a room, a little private 3D space, if you like, a digital space where you can have, ad hoc meetups and events. So when I hit create room, it gives it an automatically generated name. You can see here that I can join this with a VR headset, so Google Cardboard or an Oculus or a Steam device. But if I just say enter this, make sure my microphone's selected, you can see here that very quickly I'm in a little 3D space, a little digital 3D space. I can hit share. I can share this link with people, or even easier, I can just give them the number code. And then I can bring in up to, I think it's 24 people into this space. The whole concept is, of course, was made for people using VR headsets, but it's very useful for people using even a mobile phone. It works very well. Or like a small laptop like I'm using here. And the general concept is you have a little space, people can move around, so you can actually use the spatial audio to have separate conversations and separate interactions. But the key thing about it is that it's very easy to bring content in for you to have your discussion around. So for example, I can just go to pictures here. Let's pick this GIF about HoloLens 2. And what it does, it will actually upload that file from my local machine onto the cloud, and it creates a web page for this object, a temporary web page on the cloud, if you like. So here's my little GIF from the HoloLens demonstration, and if I open link, you'll see here that it's actually got its own little cloud address. So it's very easy to share a file if it's a small file with somebody else from your computer, because it puts up in the cloud, people can download it. So obviously it's public cloud, not great for any sensitive data you might have here. I can also share my desktop here. This works as well as any Zoom meeting here. The resolution is really good. I can actually right click and get a full screen view of that screen share. I can take a screenshot of this. There's a variety of different things I can do, so I'm just going to remove that here. And then the other thing, the sort of main thing, is that you can bring in any web content. So web content these days is not only pictures or YouTube videos. There's a huge number of 3D models on the web, and Google Poly and Sketchfab are just two examples of these databases of 3D content. It's really where artists, content creators are sharing really beautiful things that they've created here. So of course the environment that we're in here, this kind of low polygon island, is one of these examples. But you can see here there's actually a fridge here, and I'm just going to use the controls here to turn it around a little bit. So this is a fridge with an animation built in, the doors opening and closing, and you can actually see there that's quite a detailed fridge model there. So you can bring in 3D content, and then you even have some tools to collaborate on this. So I can do some 3D markup, so I can draw with my 3D pen on the side of it. I can take a picture with a virtual camera, so you can see here what I look like, my avatar. I'm going to flip it around. Oh, there was a way. Well, let's do this. Let's just position myself next to this fridge like that. Okay, a bit tricky. I can turn the camera around. All right, a little bit trickier than I thought on the desktop. In VR, obviously that works very well. But so I can take pictures of interactions, of objects. That picture immediately comes in as a web page. So it's very, very intuitive kind of way to do things, especially if you're used to kind of 3D applications where you're kind of used to clicking a few buttons to get things to change scale and all these kind of things. You've got some emoticons here. You've got a text chat if you don't want to interact on audio. There's just a huge amount of things. Perhaps the most impressive thing for me is that actually comes with its own editor called Spoke. So Hubs and Spoke. The Spoke editor, as you can see here, if I just log into it, allows you to create basically environments for your meetups. So these environments, can be more or less static. You can see here I've got a little 3D model of a ramen stand here. I surrounded it by a panoramic picture of it's a Japanese tea garden in Hamburg. If I go back to my projects here, you can see that I can do more complex things here. So this is something I've been doing for Viva, of course, where we've taken it's a virtual exhibition hall. I've got some problems there, but so we've got a little auditorium there, as you just saw, where people can sit down and watch a video, which you can pipe in. Just need a link. I've actually built a couple of small demonstration booths here with some images. I've got a 3D interior of an oil rig or some drilling support vessel. Various sort of marketing material can be brought in here. And the great thing about it is, right click again. When I'm running that, I can right click on that and see the whole view. This is the editor. But you can see here it's a pretty good editor. I can grab anything, move it around as I want, bring in audio, bring in video. It's like a mini game engine. So it's a really fantastic tool. And of course, these environments can be used to change the environment where you're having your meetup. And these environments make a big difference to the atmosphere of a meetup in a 3D space. So this one, for example, very good for hanging up some pictures where people want to focus on the content, for example. The ramen scene in my scenes is something I'd created to have an intimate conversation with a close friend. So you might want to sit down at the ramen table and just talk to a close friend. And as you can see here, there's a huge variety of scenes that have been created by different creators. So Hubs and Spoke from Mozilla, it's a little glimpse into the future because you're basically making a 3D website here. So you're making a little space on the web, but instead of it being a paradigm where you're basically copying the document, we're actually going into the 3D metaverse, as some people call it, where we're creating effectively infinite 3D space, which can be a variety of different websites like this. So each one of these rooms, as you can see here, is a website or a URL, at least has a URL. It's referencing a lot of different 3D objects here. And just to show you what's kind of possible, this is a mashup I created. It's a 3D scan I created with my mobile phone with a free application called Displayland. You can see it's a bit blocky, but you can get the gist of my home here. And then what I've done is I've mashed this up with some good quality 3D content from an artist here. So you can see a very famous painting scene here, beautifully rendered, light baked into it, absolutely fantastic. And then in the same scene, I've got a Google Street View, a little bit of reality, if you like. So, this is the future of the web, folks. It's, photogrammetry, 3D scans of real places. It's beautiful computer generated art. It's maybe 360 videos and photographs, all in one kind of world, if you like, one 3D kind of world. So that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you have fun playing with Hubs and Spoke, and I look forward to your comments. Bye.